The African Cup of Nations over the years has been hailed as the holy grail of African national football teams. The biennial African tournament has been used to determine the best teams in Africa. Its last edition in 2019 had the highest number of participants, increasing it to 24 from the tournament, which had only 3 participants in its first edition. But how did it all begin? Afcon traces its origins from June 1956 during the 3rd FIFA Congress in Lisbon. CAF was formed, and the following year, the first Afcon held in 1957. Khartoum, Sudan hosted with no qualification needed, Egypt and Ethiopia joining, but South Africa eliminated due to the apartheid policy at the time. Egypt were crowned the first Afcon champions after they defeated Ethiopia in the final. 2 years later, they hosted and won it again in 1959. The participants remained the same, Sudan this time losing to Egypt in the final. In the third Afcon in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, 9 teams took part, with qualifiers being played for the very first time to determine the 4 teams that will play for the title. Ethiopia, being host, and Egypt, being reigning champions, got automatic qualification. They were joined after the qualifiers by Tunisia and Nigeria. Egypt made their 3rd consecutive appearance in the final, but Ethiopia emerged triumphant after beating Tunisia in the semis. The Ghana Black Stars made their first appearance in the Afcon in 1963 as hosts, with CK Jemfi head coach of the Stars. They won the title for the first time in 1963, beating Sudan in the final. In 1965, CK Jemfi led the Ghana Black Stars once again to their 2nd consecutive victory, beating Tunisia and equaling Egypt's record of winning the Afcon twice. Afcon changed to even-numbered years, and 1968 was the next tournament. Ghana made its 3rd consecutive final, but this time lost to DRC. In the 1970 Afcon, there was television coverage for the first time. Sudan hosts. They won, beating Ghana, who were playing their 4th consecutive Afcon. In the 1970s to 80s, 6 different nations won the Afcon titles. Cameroon dominated the 1980s, winning it in 84 and 88, losing in 86. Nigeria won their first title in 1980, Ghana their 4th crown in 1982. Algeria won in 1990 as hosts, beating Nigeria 1-0 in the final. The tournament expanded to the 12-team tournament in 1992, where Ghana lost to Ivory Coast on penalties. Abedi Pele of Ghana scored 3 goals and was adjudged the best player of the tournament. Unfortunately for Ghana, he could not make the final versus Ivory Coast. The 1994, the 12-team format was used again. Nigeria beat Zambia to win it for the 2nd time in their history. Rashidi Yakini, who had led the top goal scorer chart in 92 with 4 goals, repeated the same feat with 5 goals this time. 1996, South Africa made their long-awaited return to the Afcon. 16 teams were allowed to play in this tournament, 4 groups with 4 teams. However, only 15 teams played. Nigeria withdrew for political reasons. South Africa won their first title, beating Tunisia in the final. In 1998, they made the final again, but lost to Egypt, who equaled Ghana's record, winning it for the 4th time. Ghana and Nigeria co-hosted the Afcon 2000. Cameroon defeated Nigeria to win on penalties 2-2. Cameroon made consecutive finals in 2002, winning it again, beating Senegal, who were first-time finalists at the time. In 2004, hosts Tunisia won it, beating Morocco 2-1 in the final. In 2006 to 2010 marked a period of immense dominance by Egypt, who won it first as host in 2006 and retained it in 2008 when Ghana hosted it, beating Cameroon in the final. In the 2010, Egypt completed a treble of consecutive trophies, entitling them to have it for keeps. In May 2010, it was announced that the tournament would be moved to an odd-numbered year from 2013. Zambia won the Afcon in 2012 for the first time, beating Ivory Coast in the final, with Nigeria winning it in 2013, beating first-time finalist Burkina Faso. The Ebola pandemic threatened to disrupt the tournament from taking place in 2015. Morocco refused to host it due to concerns over the Ebola pandemic, so Equatorial Guinea hosted it. Ghana lost to Ivory Coast on penalties in 2015. And Cameroon won their 5th crown in 2017, beating Egypt in the final. In 2019, Algeria won it for the first time since 1990, beating Senegal 1-0 in the final. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, the tournament has been shifted now to an even-numbered year, and in January once again, and in 2023 another Afcon will take place, this time hopefully in the summer of that year. If you watched up to this point, wow, you must have really liked the video, and I'm happy you did. If you want more videos like this, let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments box. If I missed anything in your opinion, let me know it in the comments box. If you're doing more videos like this on this channel, as well as my second channel, Football View, I'll leave a link to it in the description, as well as up here if that's possible, and you guys can subscribe and give me your thoughts on it. We'll still be doing our usual videos as well. We are not shifting focus. I'm just trying out something new, and let me know your feedback on it. What do you think about it and everything? The Euros are coming up next month, and I'm thinking of giving some insights and thoughts into the Euros tournament. We're doing live watch-alongs for the Euros. We'll also be doing history, looking back at some of the performances of the teams in the Euros as well. But mostly here on this channel, we'll be talking about the history of African football and how African football has changed over the years, the performances of Ghanaian players, African players in general, international friendlies. Also, we're bringing you the latest updates on that front here on the channel. I'm sellssi, as usual, your host and your voiceover on this particular video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Commiserations to Manchester United fans. Last night they lost. I'm quite disappointed. I'm a Manchester United fan, as you already know, but we move. We have no choice but to move. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the week.